regarding service providers, what role will SCAB play in the identification and contracting of service providers? I want to know the power of SCAB. I heard them say that they were just going to be doing the building.
Right. They actually addressed all this earlier, so maybe if you can get one-on-one with someone.
She can give you a take.
Let me just say one thing. But Larry drove me to this table from a little county in Georgia called Coweta County. I was a county commissioner there for 12 years. During that tenure, I was the Southern Regional Director of the National Association of County Commissioners Black Caucus. And so I got to know a lot of county commissioners throughout the state of Alabama, Florida, and everywhere else. But having said that, my main genre is finance and commercial real estate. This young lady sitting right here and the man sitting behind her, those are the people that's walking beside me every day as we try to stand up SCABC. If you take my phone right now and look at it, there's probably 40 calls on it from them this week. So she is intricately involved in making SCABC stand up. And one of them will probably be the executive director when the interim director leaves.
There are a lot of people working behind the scenes.
So I just want to make sure that you all know, that you know that Latrice is intricately involved in calling me at midnight on Sunday night.
Okay, we have one final comment or question, and then Mr. Brown, as the lead of this project and the one who actually submitted the paperwork that brought us all here together today, with all the brain power that went into that, we'd like for you to have closing remarks.
Okay, absolutely.
And your commitment to the communities as we move forward, of what this project is going to do for Alabama. Mayor Evans, if you would like any closing remarks on behalf of municipalities that will be a part of this and impacted so greatly by it. And then we are going to part ways cohesively and yes, with questions. Absolutely, we've not resolved everything here today. We have not. There are still questions, and there may even be so far as to say there may still be some concerns. But those are things that the project team is willing to answer. If you're willing to ask the questions, let's just work together and resolve this so that we can move forward. Okay? Comment, Mr. Green, and then Mr. Brown.
I want to thank everybody for coming on the line. I think this is a good start so that we can walk down this path and get some answers to some of the questions that we have and actually come to some resolution. Now, another thing that I would like to question I was asking here, I think we're mixing some construction and operation. That concerns me right now. We're making decisions, and before an operator can be assigned, we, as the recipients of this, need to have access and some input in who's actually going to be able to do that. Because me, as an engineer, I want to see performance of an organization that goes into this $60 million network that's going out here. I need to know that somebody has done this before and has intimate knowledge about on the operational side, not the construction side, because they are two different functions. We need input to that part of that. That's number one. Number two is, I really think we have questions about the relationship or interrelationship between every entity here, whether it is public or private. I think we need to know the relationship between SCABC and HD, and we need to know between Trade and HD. We need to know boards and everything else so that we understand how all of this is coming into play and the end result of all of this, because this is a public entity. And I really want to see that information. And I've been asked that question several times. So we didn't get a chance to touch on this, but I think the submission needs to be submitted to Kathy, basically stating that information.
And anyone actually, Ms. Brown, I think that would be easy for you to answer. For anyone who wants to stay, you could flip the chart back over and talk about relationships, interrelationships, whether it's family ties, whether it's people serving on each other's boards. People have called me numerous times and asked that question. You might even go back to the first one, if you've already drawn. But let me let you make any closing remarks right now you'd like to, and Mayor Evans, for those who need to leave, because there are some that need to go ahead and get on the road.
Yeah, let me just quickly say this, because I hate to tarnish this meeting with some emotional stuff that I'm gathering here.
No, it's not emotional.
But we want to make sure that everyone in this room knows through transparency what is going on with this project. Okay? And we've been forthright all day with you with this project. Now, if there's additional questions, you have to answer. I'm standing up, I'm ready to take questions. Relationships, we're integrated here. We know what A2B does, we know what A+ does, we know what SCABC does. Okay? Howie is it a sexual relationship? I don't think so. He's got his path, they have their path. Okay? Now, the question you're asking, is there any other kind of relationship going on? Tony, if you want to take that out?
I'll take, you go to our corporate website, www.a2binc.com. We have 4 board members. Ralph Brown, Ron Price, former BellSouth president of Georgia. Tom Titan, the River Technology founder, the technology component, or the core technology. Laura Yancey. Due to our request to be removed from the board to eliminate any confusion, we're a private organization, A2B, privately funded, privately developed. We're free to have any board member, but to eliminate the confusion from a quasi-government type component. Because part of our relationship through this grant process, we had become very tight, and a lot of proprietary and confidential information had to be shared. In bringing organizations very close, it was a determination between me and the founder to step to the table and bring in entities even closer to that relationship. Moving that relationship forward, now that we're going through this process, to eliminate any public confusion, is to eliminate those roles that would be considered as a conflict of interest. Now I have 2 slots to fill on my board, and I have 19 candidates that I will fill on my board. One directly will be an Alabama-based organization that has expressed direct relationship for over 2 years in interest directly with me to support me. One and another one being a service provider that I've had a close relationship for almost 30 years now. That is strategically in the industry and understands this industry quite well. What providers are looking for, what organizations are looking for is a sustainable company that can take in board input and make sound business decisions. We proved it. We're a good financial balance sheet. We're a very strong organization. We're the first investor in this project. Going through due diligence, Booz Allen has vetted us. PricewaterhouseCoopers has vetted us. I understand the question about our organization relationships, but it had come very close. Part of our development in the future is to make our organization more open, is to develop a technology alliance. So service providers can have a tighter relationship with our corporation. Because remember, this is one network to us. We're private industry. Our forecast is 15 networks throughout the Southeast because the model is infrastructure. We're not selling services, both commercial-based and community-based. There was a question that, and I hate to jump on this, but I think this is my soapbox to answer. You can tell this is very important to me, very important to our organization, as well as everybody over here.
Before you answer your question,
The
2 spots, Rob Brown and Laura, or no?
That was separate friend relationship. First of the month.
Yes, yes, sir. As soon as we found that may be a conflict or a concern.
But and let me just say this, since somebody said something. That bothered me worse than anything. That everybody that was involved conceptually in doing that did not see that it was a conflict of interest. It's not apparent conflict of interest. By the definition of conflict of interest, you cannot monitor me and be a part of it.
So I think
you can't monitor me and be a part of it.
we resolved it.
So that's good. That's good.
It's the same diatribe that occurred when the ICE functionality was being formed in the grant. That there was an organization created with board members, of which I was selected to be one of the members.
And I think you all probably have learned, and you probably knew this before, that once you're funded by a federally funded grant, everything becomes public.
Everything.
And everything is a whole different ballgame than when you're a private for-profit company. All of a sudden, everything is out in the open and transparent. And so that's what people want, it's just transparency and to understand things that normally you can keep confidential and proprietary in a for-profit company. Now funded by a federal grant, it all becomes visible. And so that's what people just want is transparency.
One addition, I know there's a construction company here called the Consortium, apparently they had lead. And so I'm aware of your concern, and I missed the RFP thing, because I just had to go use that a lot.
Okay, that's fine.
But the issue is, they felt they were left out of the first round construction process. I would like for ATV or Trillium or a combination to get with Selma Alabama, the citizen here of Selma, and, continue to dialogue about that matter.
Right.
That's fine.
When do you think SCABC, or a website, even if it's HBs, a website where people can go for answers, to get in touch with whoever is doing the RFPs, all of that?
SCABC have a website.
Whatever people working with.
A2DE.com.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Instruction questions, people that want to become part of a vendor process or something like that. Yeah, okay, we've got to wrap it up. Let's please give Mayor Evans a few moments to wrap this up. And I do thank everyone again for coming. We have no idea what this means to bring everybody together and have this type of dialogue. I'm crucial.
Let me just say this, that it's incredible that
This is the third one we've done though, and everybody invited to all those meetings. So this is the third one we've done, so I appreciate it.
With all these partners
Yes,
at the table.
I'm at the table.
Good.
let me say this, and first of all, thank everybody for coming. I recognize a lot of them well, because we got stressed out. And I do appreciate your time to it's not easy. I feel there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work in progress, a lot of unanswered questions that need to be clarified from the table. Because, as when it comes to Selma, in terms of signing resolution and other cities and counties, certainly there need to be more clarifications and where we're going, who's going to be driving the train. So I would certainly, Selma would love to host any kind of meetings to do this round.
Very good.
I don't have no problem with that. This won't make it work.
We'll be back.
It won't make it work, and we just look forward to all work together and come to some kind of agreement as to each other, know. And the trustee piece that you talked about, I think that's a piece that I think we can support. I can support it from the standpoint of private company coming and doing that. But a trustee, to me, has more credibility and accountability. So, but anyway, thank you all for being here. I want to long evening today. I got things I got to do, but feel free to call me if I need anything happen, and I'll give you my card in case you need to contact. So let's just keep working together and make it happen.
Good.
That's all good.
Wonderful. Can you leave some cards here on the table for anyone who would like them? And don't forget that if you want a copy of the tape, Ms. Curtis is the person to see for that. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Wait.